Hi, my name is Amanda Pivar. I'm a mortgage agent with Fine Mortgage Group, and I'm here with the wonderful Charlene Williams, and we are here to answer all your mortgage and real estate questions. How are you, Charlene?
I'm doing great, Amanda. Thank you for the invite. I am a real estate broker with Real Estate HOMEWARD. I've been in the industry for 14 years and I'm ready to answer or ask you any questions that our viewers may be interested in. Um, First of all, let's start with down payments and closing costs. Is that
Mhm.
okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so are the down payment and closing costs much different now versus February? And how much different are they?
Yeah, so I actually made some notes because I've been getting this question a lot lately. And let's just say a property is worth $1 million back in February and is now worth 800. Back in February at $1 million, you would have had to put 20% down payment. So your down payment would have been 200,000. And your closing costs on $1 million as a second-time home buyer would be around the $40,000 mark. So altogether, you're gonna need about 240,000. Now that same property that's worth say around the $800,000 mark, you now have the option of putting 20% down payment, which is 160, or you could do your minimum down payment, which is 5% on the first 500 and 10% on anything over top, which works out to be 35,000. And then your closing costs go down to about 32,000. So as you can see, that's a pretty big savings and less money you actually need to get into an equivalent property as you did at the beginning of the year.
Okay, and what rate strategy is there for buyers right now?
Absolutely. So I 100% would not be recommending anyone take a 5-year fix right now. I think that's way too long a term in an environment with very inflated rates. Bank of Canada is doing their best to try to slow down inflation, so therefore rates are a little bit higher. If any of my clients or even myself personally, if I was to get a mortgage right now, I would not do anything more than a 2 or 3 year term. That's a long enough period to kind of weather the storms of higher rates. And then when you're up for renewal, be able to walk into a better, potentially longer term at lower interest rates. Right now, it's all about marry the home, but date the rate.
That's a really good pun there. I like that. Okay, so we're looking at if you are in the market for a longer period of time, which everybody should be, because real estate is all about buying and holding, then
Yep.
you should probably play around with, if you can, with the mortgage and the rates, whether it's a 1 year term or a 5 year term.
Absolutely. Like I always say to my clients, the mortgage is a marathon, not a sprint. We want to look at
Right.
the next 30 years, not the next year or two, because things can change. You want to plan for your future, and we want to make sure we're doing whatever is financially sound in that moment. Some of my clients are opting to take an interest only mortgage right now just to lower their monthly payments because they might have been in a variable or have a higher rate that keeps going up. And I say, you know what? Don't worry too much about it. Rates are eventually going to come back down. At that point, we can look at strategies like doing accelerated bi-weekly, lowering your amortization, things like that to catch up for the short period of time that maybe your mortgage isn't ideal.
Well, it's good to know that there's options out there.
Absolutely. There definitely is. The last thing we would ever want people to do is start selling their homes because they can't afford it. That's when talking to a professional really comes into play because there's so many options, especially people who've owned their home for a long period of time. Chances are they paid quite a bit down, they have a shorter amortization. They can always look at short term increasing that amortization to lower that monthly payment. And then when rates come back down, increase that monthly payment to bring that amortization back down. So it's all about just
Right,
figuring out what works best for you and weathering the storm.
right. And for a buyer putting less than 20% down, have you seen any changes in qualifying?
So we have definitely seen that more of like I've had quite a bit of first time home buyers, and we're definitely seeing that they're able to buy. So for a long time, a lot of my clients have been priced out of the market because they didn't have enough down payment, they didn't have enough closing costs, they needed a higher income to get into that property. But with property prices coming down, it creates more opportunity. I think any first time home buyer who's been sitting on the guidelines or priced out, now is your time. This is not going to last. This is a bubble of lower prices. I think as soon as the Bank of Canada starts to settle with the increases that we've been seeing, people aren't going to be nervous. People are going to be back to buying. We're expecting so many immigrants into our city in the next or 3 to 5 years, they say. So now is the time for anyone who's been sitting on the sideline or priced out to take a serious look. And again, it brings me back to marry the home and date that rate. Let's just get into the market, because once you're in, and you can talk to this too, once someone's in the market, it's so much easier to move around.
Oh, absolutely. Instead of just trying to enter the market. But it's good to know that there is an opportunity out there for first-time buyers who, over the last little while, they weren't even able to look at getting into the market because the prices were so high.
Absolutely, because I think you can attest this as well. For the first time in a long time, a first-time home buyer could probably actually find a junior one-bedroom condo downtown for around the $500,000 mark. That is not going to
Hmm.
last. That is a bubble and a half. I have buyers that I had in 2021 that I've now reached back out to and said, listen, I know at the time of you were priced out, but now is your time to move, and they're actually able to buy.
That's great. That's great. So let's continue maybe with the Bank of Canada increasing rates. What is the new prime lending rate and how much what does it affect the payment for let's say every $250,000?
Yeah, so it went up half a point yesterday. So it went from 5.95 up to 6.45. On average, for a $250,000 mortgage, it increased your payment by $75.
Right. So, for example, I have a mortgage of 700,000, and it's a variable, and I'm looking at probably somewhere around 3,500 for my mortgage for a month, right? So it turns out to be a lot, especially since I was variable in February and it was like 2,200 and now it's 3,500. And that's a really big increase.
It really is, unfortunately, because we've had seen so many increases over the last year. We've seen 7 of them actually. It really has increased a lot of people's payment. What some people are doing though, especially people who have property values under 100, now that we're starting to see the fixed rate slowly come back down, what a lot of my clients who have a variable that's now around the 5.5 mark, and they're in the 30-year amortization, they're actually breaking their mortgage to then take a 25-year rate. The payments are only going up maybe $20, $30, but paying that mortgage off a few years sooner can save hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest. So there
Right.
are actually
And
opportunities right now to save money on interest for variable rate clients.
okay. And these are again, these are good options that a lot of people don't realize. All they
Yeah,
hear on TV news is the interest rate going up, the interest rate going up, but they have no idea what that means. And it takes someone like you to explain to them exactly where they can go and what they can do with the options that they have.
exactly. Like I had a client, just to kind of go back to what I was saying. An example is I had a client, they had about 600,000 left on their mortgage. We had done a 30-year AM last year. So their rate is now up to 5.35, whereas the 3-year that we were able to lock in about a month ago was 4.79. Their payment only went up $30 a month, but paying that mortgage off, it was 28 years and 10 months sooner, actually saved them $116,000 of interest. So there's opportunities like that now that people can be looking into. And again, if you don't know somebody to be able to help you with this, you're not getting the best advice.
Right, right. Well, those are really, it's good to know those things for sure. And I think you actually answered my next question already. Would you still recommend a variable rate?
So at this moment, okay, so every scenario is a little bit different. If someone's coming to me and they're saying, you know what, we're probably going to move within the next year, year and a half, then a variable is still a great idea just because of the penalties. They can be a lot lower than a fixed. This moment, though, I think the real play is definitely still the 2 to 3 years. Though I do think that in the next 3 to 4 months, my tune might change a little bit. The second we start to see the Bank of Canada steady out on their increases, that is the time to do a variable again, because you're going to be on the downward side of something that's been on the upward side for the last year, and that is only going to work in your favor. So right now,
Right.
short term, but I do think my tune will change come spring if we see the Bank of Canada slow down on rate increases.
Okay. I think so as well. I think I heard the great economist Benjamin Tal say
Yeah.
that we will start going down in interest rates probably around spring of 2023. It'll start to inch down. Will it go back down to what it was previously, like 1.45? Probably not. It'll probably settle somewhere around 3%. Again, we don't have crystal balls, so
No,
we don't know,
exactly.
right? We're just following everything the way the general public is, but we do know a little bit more based on the fact that we're in that industry.
Absolutely. And I'm,
So one last question I have for you. The rental market. I
mm,
have a client that wants a rental, a 1 bedroom plus a den anywhere in the GTA, and he only wants to pay 2,000 a month, and we're not finding anything at all,
right.
right? Um, the rates are just crazy. And if you see one that is under 2,000, it's gone like that. Like we can't
Mhm.
even get out to see it fast enough.
Yeah.
What are we looking at in terms of rental properties going so high right now?
Yeah. So rental, like when people are looking to rent, you're right. We have a shortage of rental properties, but I look at it as an excellent opportunity for anyone who's looking at buying a property that has an income suite. So whether it be a basement apartment, a triplex, a duplex. The reason why is one of the lenders I work with, if you have putting 20% down payment and you have a basement apartment, they'll actually use 100% of that rental income to help qualify. So that's great for two reasons. One, it helps someone purchase a property a little bit higher outside their budget. And two, actually three reasons. Two, you'll have someone subsidize that mortgage payment every month with their rental income. And three, it's needed. We have such a shortage of rental properties, and usually basement apartments are a little bit less expensive than a condo downtown. So it's not only helping out the homeowner with their mortgage and buying them a slightly more expensive property, but two, it's helping out something that is a huge shortage in Toronto, which is rental property.
Right, right. And that is a huge change from before because I remember you saying to me in the past that they only took into consideration an amount, not the entire 100%.
Yeah, 50%. So not every lender does this. It's just one lender in particular that I work with. They'll use 100% of the rental income. And then another lender I work with now will use 80%, which is not something we've always had access to. And it is a great option for anyone looking for a property with an income suite.
Hmm. Wow, that's good to know. Um, so are you looking at a lot of people, I guess? I'm not sure entirely how to put this question. So are a lot of people downsizing and going into condos these days? Like, have you seen any of that in the market?
I'm seeing the opposite. I'm seeing a lot of people selling their condo and buying a home, especially
Okay.
one who's purchased before October of 2020. So before October 2020, our prices were reasonable. They really started exploding October 2020 and 2021. So anyone who bought before that mark has built up quite a bit of equity in their property because the value has gone up, they've paid their mortgage down, and they now actually have a much larger down payment that getting into, say, a single family home or even a townhouse condo with more space is what I'm seeing versus the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is
Okay.
an opportunity for anyone looking to move up. I think the move up buyer right now, this is the time. Again, it's like the first time home buyer. Yes, they might take a small hit on how much they're getting on their condo from where they were in February, but if they look at what they're buying, what's going to pay off more in the long run? A 1 bedroom condo downtown or a freehold home in the GTA? Most likely a freehold home in the long run will
Hmm.
make more money.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Wow. That's very informative, Amanda. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, so I'm hearing like the media is awful. I know that much. But I'm hearing from the media that, prices are plummeting, it's an awful time, but then I'm having clients who are bidding more. So what is actually going on?
Well, I'm not quite sure what's going on in the media. It's like Chicken Little out there. The bottom is falling out. However, there are places in the GTA that still have multiple offers. And what I've noticed is that prices are inching back up again. Places like Leslieville, constantly multiple offers. Certain parts of East York, multiple offers still. Condo prices are inching back up. I believe, well, the last area that I was in, Newmarket, East Gwillimbury, they're inching back up. Those prices are pretty much holding steady and going a little bit up at a time. It's not a monstrous divide the way it was before, but you have to be careful as a buyer. If you wait too long, you may again find yourself priced out of the market.
Absolutely. And are you seeing a lot of your clients get into investment properties lately? Like buying?
Lately, not my clients are not looking at investments. Although I'm not sure why. I think they should because it's like what you said. You're not probably not going to see a one-bedroom condo in the city for 500,000 after I'm going to say 6 months. In the next 6 months, they're going to go back up again. You're going to end up paying 550, 600,000 for a one-bedroom condo, and that is the minimal amount of space, right? I think that a lot of people should, if they can afford it with the 20% down, buy an investment property. You're gonna get it rented because the rental market is crazy right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna get rented.
It's so true. And I think one thing too, people are forgetting about buying investment properties is you're right, rates are a little bit higher right now. So their cash flow might not be the crazy amounts we've seen with low rates in the past. That's not going to last. It's just about floating that property for maybe a year. And then as rates start going down, your profits go up and you increase rent every month too, or every year, sorry. So,
Yes, absolutely.
and then
Okay.
is there any little pocket of the city or outside the city that you think people are missing out on that they should be looking at more?
I think actually that's a very good question. The beaches area,
Okay.
although the prices have come down in the area, you can still find a good deal in that area. The Guild, anywhere towards the Guild, is a really nice area, and you can get a lot of land and a lot of property for pretty reasonable price right now.
Wow, that's really good because people have always thought the beaches is unreachable, but it sounds like now for the first time in a long time, it might actually be reachable again.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time, exactly.
Yeah, perfect. I think
Yeah.
the bottom, I think the one thing you and I can both agree on throughout our call is for the first time in a long time, real estate is not this thing for just the rich of Toronto. People can actually buy again, which is great.
Yes, and hopefully it will be for a little while, but
Yeah.
don't wait too long. Don't wait too long.
Exactly. I think we said earlier, the second the Bank of Canada starts to show that they've leveled off on everything, I think we're just gonna see everything pick back up.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's been great speaking with you. The information I've learned from you has been great, and I hope everybody finds it educational. And any other questions, Charlene and I are always available for you to reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amanda, and
Thank
thank you for
you.
taking the call.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, take care.